Hello, Paulding County, and welcome to another Chairman's Corner. We are fortunate today to have with us our Fire Chief, Joey Pelfrey, and our intention here is to give you information that we think would be interesting to you and maybe helpful to you in time of a fire emergency. So, Joey, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
It's good to see you.
Let me come.
And I always like to start out with kind of an individual's background and how you got into firefighting and then became the fire chief.
Okay. Well, I was fortunate enough to work my way up through the ranks. I've been with Paulding County Fire Department since 1996, a little over 22 years. Was able to work my way up from firefighter through the ranks to officer, fire officer, and deputy chief, and became fire chief in 2014.
So firefighting and fire expertise has been your livelihood for quite a while. And
it was in my 30s. I'm telling my age now, but but in my 30s, I was in the construction business up until then, and decided I want to be a firefighter when I got a little older, and it's been a lifelong dream of mine, and it came true.
That's great. That's great. Well, as far as the history of the fire department, you've seen a lot of it in those years, and I've always found it interesting to. My wife and I have lived here for 37 years, and back when we moved here, there was no fire department.
Right. Yeah, I moved here 27 years ago in 1991. It was an all-volunteer fire department, and that's when I became a volunteer firefighter here until '96. And it was all volunteer, and they hired the first firefighters in 1995, and it's grown to 162 firefighters now.
And they obviously work in shifts, and the rotation there has got to be challenging sometimes.
They do. They work 24 hours on shift, and they're off for 48. Seems like you're here more the 24 than you are the 48. But yes, they work a rigorous schedule, and they do a great job. We got some fantastic employees out there that train hard and do a good job for the citizens.
Yeah, the ones I've met are just exceptional individuals, and I've met most of them. What kind of budget are we talking about? I think it might be interesting to the citizens because it is part of their property tax and a millage rate. So.
Sure. The fire department budget currently this year is going to be about $13.1 million, and that covers salaries, the fringe benefits, operating cost, and all that. That does not include the spliced. We do have spliced to purchase vehicles and large equipment items with it, and we wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for the citizens passing the fire tax back in 2006. And we've been able to grow the fire department to keep up with all the housing boom and the population growth to be able to respond to all the calls that we respond to.
Outstanding. With the county growing, as you just mentioned, we've had to add fire stations, or try to, as we could afford. And so speak to that, is how many fire stations we have. And
at this time we have 12 fire stations, and they're placed throughout the county to respond to the citizens' needs. We also are planning on building some more. We have some planned in the splice to build some more fire stations, trying to keep our fire protection class at a 3, to where the citizens can have lower insurance rates on their homes.
Right. So that's the fire protection rating?
Yes, yes. What that is that the rating is a country-wide classification system set up by ISO, or Insurance Services Office. They set these rates. They come in and evaluate the fire departments, their communication system, as well as the water, and they give you a rating from 1 to 10, 1 being excellent, up to 10. We were recently graded in 2015. We were a fire classification of 5, and we got it lowered to a 3, which saved the citizens a lot of money on their home insurance rates. And that's what home insurance rates are set by these insurance industries. They look at these classifications that the ISO set.
So obviously we're trying to get a lower number, like a golf score. And what kind of improvements would they be looking for to get us to a 1?
Well, if the county continues to grow, you have to continue to add fire stations and equipment and personnel and improve on the water system. So it's a continuous battle to keep up with it. They come in every 3 years and evaluate you on an average. So they should be here anytime, maybe this year, to look at us again and evaluate us, and we just want to at least try to keep that 3 and go even better if we can.
There are a few departments in our county that have boards, and the fire department is one that does have a board. You want to speak about your advisory board?
Yes, the Board of Commissioners created in 2010 created a fire advisory board. The fire advisory board, we meet quarterly. It's a public open meeting. Each commissioner chooses one citizen to be on that board, and they come to these meetings and we discuss all the expenditures in the department, the planning of the department. We get all their advice, and they can report back to the commissioners and just kind of keep an eye on what we're doing in the fire department, where they can give this information to the commissioners. They can base their decisions off future plans.
Well, I think our citizens, and maybe there's some youngsters in the audience that would be interested in the type of training that the firefighters undergo. And
we're actually graduating a recruit class this year, and I can kind of go through what they do to become a firefighter. We have a lot of high school students that call. They're getting out, and some older guys like I was getting into firefighting. They come in and we do our own training here, and we do a 14-week school. They get all kinds of medical training, hazmat training, firefighting operations, and extrication. They go through this 14-week school, and then they take a state test and a national professional qualification test, and they become a firefighter 1 and a firefighter 2. Is what we do in our classes. We also have EMTs and paramedics in every station for a minimum of an EMT, and they have to go through school. That's outside of here, and it's a 1-year school. But we do have to do that because we do run first responder and basic life support trucks, and we're required to have that by the state. So we have that training as well. So it does take a couple of years to get a firefighter EMT trained up and able to run calls efficiently.
it seems like it would definitely take time to acquire all that knowledge. So you mentioned we have 12 fire stations with one more in the not too distant future, for sure. What's the top priority of our fire department?
Well, you know, we did mention the ISO. We've been mentioning a lot of things here, but it's the biggest thing for us is to take care of our employees and give the citizens the best service we can. You know, we know that we're stewards of the taxpayers' money. We know that they pay their dollars to see a good fire department, and that's what we plan on doing. I'm surrounded by fantastic personnel that are dedicated to the citizens in the department, and I believe that any of the citizens, if they came by and discussed the fire department with any of those firefighters or myself, they'll realize they have a top-notch fire department, and I have some excellent employees.
Well, there couldn't be a better word to close on than that. Just proud of your employees, and I'm proud of our whole department, and I know our whole Board of Commissioners is, and just applaud you all for your commitment and you know, your willingness to serve and to be ready to possibly save the life of one of our family members. So I appreciate what you do, Chief Pelfrey, and thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.